Hi, everyone. Welcome to the K8s Infra meeting. We are June 21. And as usual, this meeting is under the code of conduct. So as you know, be just kind during this meeting. Let's start. Do we have a note taker? Oh yeah, we have a note taker, but I'm sorry. Thank you, Jiffy. You're the best.
Got you.
Okay, before we start, do we have any person new to the call? We have one person, obviously. Feel free to do the intro. It's not required, but feel free.
Hey.
Sure. Hi, everyone.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You're talking about.
I'm Maureen. It's my first time joining. Just joining to check what's going on and get a sense of what K8s Infra is about.
Nice, and welcome. Who is next? I think that's Anna.
Yeah, happy to introduce myself. Hi, everyone. I am Hannah Aubrey from Fastly, representing Fast Forward, our open source program and open internet initiatives. Super happy to support Kubernetes and this SIG. Thank you.
Do we have someone else, or I don't think so? Okay, let's jump to the first thing, billing and cost. I don't see anything special for the last 30 days.
One thing that Rian pointed out, I want to say like 2 weeks ago, was there was a spike in GCP costs, not a lot. But it had to do with scale testing, and then it went back down, which, surprise, no one.
No, because we had an issue with one of the scaling tests. I think, Marco, I think that was a 5K one of the one. I don't exactly remember. We had an issue just before the release of Alpha 128 Alpha 2. So Marco did manual retrigger, and we got that spike of cost. So it's like, I think we are aware of that. So that's it.
Cool.
We can track down the Slack message regarding this if anyone is interested, but that's much it. Anything to see per project? Yeah, sorry, BigQuery is processing. I think the mistake I make every time is not basically trying to load for the first time the dashboard. So we have pre-processing. I always forget that. Okay, I think, yeah, the spike is, oops. Oh, okay. Yeah, if I compare to exactly this month, yeah, we have something. When are we? Yeah, because we see 545K project and almost, yeah, 1K the week before. Do we want to go over the entire GCP dashboard, or we just jump to AWS? Because like, I don't really see something specific we want to talk about.
I think we can move on.
Yeah, we can move on.
Also, thank you for linking that Slack message, Marco.
Okay, thank you. Oh, on AWS, wait, what do we prefer, daily or month? I will go monthly, so I don't check.
I would like to point out 2 things about AWS, if that's okay. So the first one being is that I am personally very happy about PRAO, because considering the amount of jobs that we moved from default to PRAO, the cost pretty much stayed the same all the time. So I think this is great for now. We are doing pretty well with the current cluster size of 20 nodes. We don't really see needs to scale up at this moment. We also have cluster auto-scaling in place. So I think from that side, we are doing pretty good from both the cluster stability, job stability, and costs side. Other thing is that we need to expect a jump over time in AWS bill, because we are going to start hosting packages there. And this is a topic that I added for open discussion about OBS, but it is something to expect to see here in the upcoming weeks, that there's probably going to be some increase, because we are going to start adding infra for that as well.
Any question regarding AWS? Okay. Okay, so I think we can move on. So AI review. I think the last thing we wanted to do is like get some data about get GCI.io. Like, I feel like Justin, you're not ready to give that information.
I am not ready to give information, but I am loading it in a window as we speak. There is actually a lot of data. I am loading June 14th, but it is still loading into big.
Okay, I think it's fine. We have that async in Slack, have that conversation about that, see what's happening. Yeah, the question will be, is it worth doing another redirects? That's the main question. If we, yeah, and also James is not here, so I don't think we have Chrome to have this conversation. That's fine. We can talk about that.
I should be able to get the same report, the same stuff in 2 weeks or by 2 weeks. Hopefully, it won't take 2 weeks to load, but you know, it should be the same report.
Okay. Any other AI we miss? I don't think we miss any AI. Okay. So let's go to open discussion. You are first, Anna.
Hello, everyone. So thank you so much for the post you recently put out and the kind words about dl.k8s.io adopting a CDN. We were super excited and wow, awesome to hear that y'all are just going to do a straight cutover of the traffic, especially at the volume at which y'all are operating. So we were kind of interested to see, it says live stream here, but after some consideration and presuming y'all will be sort of in a, focused on making sure everything goes smoothly, maybe not a live stream, but we'd love to possibly capture some content. For example, if you all would be coordinating on a Zoom call like this, perhaps recording that, and of course, cherry picking the super exciting moments from it. In addition, any sort of observability tools, in particular, our suite of observability tools, recording those at the moment to see, traffic graphs go up, etc. Just sort of interested to hear what ideas you have around this and if you feel it would be a possibility. Of course, understanding any security concerns and putting out this sort of view, but really excited to sort of make a big splash about this. And then, of course, to the point about a blog post, as you see the traffic on our network and notice any performance improvements, we'd love to work with you on a post detailing those.
Okay, thank you for that and for the donation again. I think for the rollout, we can possibly do the recording because the rollout itself should take 5 to 10 minutes maximum because it's a change of configuration in the redirection platform. So nothing much except that, and the rest is basically do monitoring and ensure we don't deal with too major breaking infrastructure, because that's going to be it. If you feel like basically the rollout is too breaking for the user, we just roll back. So it's a matter of like doing the rollout for 10 minutes and be in monitoring mode for 2 to 3 hours, or maybe the entire day/night, depending on the hour we do that, and that's it. And we keep monitoring and either addressing existing issue or guiding people to different workaround if they have any kind of infrastructure, I would say, requirement for whatever reason. So I think we can record the monitoring part. Like, I don't know. What do you feel about, how do you feel about this, Jiffy?
I definitely think like record cutting the PR against K8s.io. Of course you would say that. Record cutting it over, record cutting the PR against K8s.io. Watch using monitoring of traffic essentially getting cut off moving forward to Fastly, and then maybe 5 minutes of us watching that, and then we can call that footage recorded and done. And then let's just say, since this isn't going to be live and it will be edited, if the world falls down, knock on wood, I'm sure it won't, but if the world falls down, then we won't use that footage. And
Right.
we will let Hannah know immediately that something's wrong, we're cutting back, please don't use that.
Right. And something we'd like to do from our side, we have a team called Mission Control, and they do something called live event monitoring. So from our side, we'll also have a team of SREs monitoring your traffic to make sure it goes smoothly. And we could even, if you want, have some of them join your meeting. And of course, we'll be monitoring to make sure nothing falls down on our side.
So no, we want this, when we do this, this is probably going to be, or should be, central to your time zone, correct? So this would probably be like morning rollout for us, afternoon rollout for you.
I mean, we want to do that at Pacific time, or because if I do that on my time, I have no one around to be in the party. So,
well, that's what I was thinking. Like, let's try and do this like 10 a.m. Pacific, so it's still not ridiculously late for you, because it's like what, 11 for you, 10 for you?
kind of 9 to 8. Yeah, between 8 and 9, so should be fine for me.
All right.
If I make, yeah.
If we do it around this
Okay.
time anyways.
Yeah, so I think we go for the video recording, we capture the rollout. And based on what we are doing, we can either use that. So let's get ready for July 24.
One more question for y'all. Are you using Grafana, or what sort of observability tool are you using?
In general, yes, but for this particular workload, no.
Okay.
We could expose the metric from Fastly and basically expose that to a Grafana instance. It's doable. But the question is, we have built-in monitoring. So.
And I asked because, oh, sorry.
No, I was just thinking, I was also thinking, like, if we use Fastly's native monitoring, at least for this, I mean, if it's gonna be recorded and used as a video for y'all, that would probably be a good thing for you.
Yes, yeah. Well, I was asking because we have, I've just learned there is an API to some parts of our observability tools. I'm not sure exactly which, but if those could plug into your existing dashboards, and so maybe you could see like the graphs, these graphs go down, these graphs go. That might be interesting.
Yeah, I think right now we are so focused on the rollout that observability is something we want to do post rollout, because we just leverage the Fastly tooling currently, dashboard to be more specific. I know for sure in the Fastly console you have some dashboard to see what's happening, it pass distribution per continent, yeah, those kind of things. We can just use that for the recording and use that for a few days, and later, because we want to be open about this, we export everything and we expose that. We export everything somewhere in either GCP or AWS, and we expose that to a Grafana instance. I think that's like the one thing we can do later. I don't see a big blocker for this, because Fastly as an exporter for Prometheus metrics, so it's kind of straightforward to do this.
Will there be any stepping of traffic, or is it just going to be a complete, like we do 50% for 5 and then?
It's like, because the origin is also public. So the idea is to be able to capture at least 2 petabytes of traffic during the rollout. I think that's like my hope, because currently people can bypass the Fastly, to eat directly the origin. So I think the question is like, right now we roll out Fastly and we use the GCS public, which is public as an origin, and later we change that bucket to something private and we only serve for Fastly. It's still in discussion, but we are not clear about this. But I think the first thing, like, because we want to implement some change on how we handle that origin / GCS bucket, we want to first put Fastly in front of it, and later do whatever change we want without breaking user. Because one benefit with Fastly is like, it's a caching system, so we can have things in cache and break the origin, and it will be fine for the end user, and we can fix whatever things we broke in the backend.
And then my last question is, after we capture the screen recordings and such, we'd love to have someone from this group, possibly do some voiceover. Are any of you super excited about doing such a thing?
Me, yes.
Excellent.
I've been waiting this for, I think, a year now. So it's finally happening.
Yay,
So,
I know,
yeah.
thank you. Sweet.
And I think there's
Marno,
like
we'll keep-
another, sorry, my question is for Jiffy, how we want to handle communication post rollout. Do we want to do CNCF fastly thing or community fastly? Open
Community fast.
question.
I would, for a lot of this stuff, I would say community handles the comms and then CNCF will just boost it. I think tentatively we're going to do leading up to Chicago, kind of a rolling thunder approach about all of the K8s Infra donations up until Chicago, and then it'll be a big thing. That's my thing, or that's my guess. So yeah, feel free to, as the community, roll out another thing on K8s.io/blog, and then I'll make sure that all the marketing folks boost it from our.
Okay, so you don't want to build, you don't want to be to market a possible partnership between the Fast Forward program and all the CNCF project. Tricky question, I know.
Yeah, and then the cat muted it while I started talking. Yeah, you're making this kind of difficult for me. Realistically, what we've done so far with the other donations is the community has posted blog posts and we have amplified it. In the background, the CNCF has been working with the donors to work on marketing materials because usually they want them leading up to larger events as additional kind of ammunition, so to speak. Hannah, I kind of defer to you. If you want this to be, you know, coinciding with the CNCF, I can connect you with the correct folks and they can handle that because I am definitely not a marketing person. But yeah.
Yes, let's connect our people.
Okay. My people will talk to your people, they'll have lunch.
Perfect.
Okay, nice. Any question
Thank you.
regarding this before we move to next?
And it looks like you all are talking about another Fast Forward program member. Is it all right if I stick around?
Yeah, you can sit in the meeting. That's fine. And you can,
These meetings are public.
yeah, those meetings are public. Yeah. So this is a public recording, so feel free to have questions. Yeah, I think there's an open question for the next item. So Marco, go for it. And we can try to answer to other questions regarding this.
Okay, so let me get started on OBS quickly. So I think that from SIG release, the blocking parts up until now are done. We have the integration, we are publishing packages, but now we are coming to the infra part of it. Like, how do we want to host packages and how it works in the OBS platform itself. So I left a link to the Slack thread that has some information and a lot of discussion between mostly me, Deems from our side, and the OBS team. So I recommend checking it out if you want to see some in-depth details about how everything is going. But I would like to do a quick recap for this meeting as well, and that we eventually try to gather some feedback. The first way is that I would like to briefly present how OBS works when it comes to network and traffic and what they can offer us. So they basically have a network of mirrors, like they have, let's call it their own CDN. And basically that is provided by the community. And speaking of community, in this case, it is mostly universities, various companies, contributors, a lot of stuff. Like, yeah, this is a great page that shows various mirrors that they have. What I have been told from folks is that they can handle like 1 petabyte per month with all mirrors, but they don't use all mirrors for all packages, right? So in reality, it is like maybe 30 gigabytes per second or something like that. So that's probably not going to be enough for us, right? Because we actually don't have any idea about how much traffic we use, because we don't have insight. It was described earlier by Ben that the Google repo is used for G Cloud and many other stuff, and we can like just filter out Kubernetes packages and figure out the traffic. So based on what we have on the K8s IO and with the registry and with everything, I think it is very safe to assume that packages are significant amount of traffic and that we need to prepare for at least what we have with the K8s IO. If it is less, that's great. It's going to be a problem if it is more. But let's be prepared on having something similar, because packages are the, let's call it, most popular way to install Kubernetes. Like if you go to the Kubernetes documentation, installing everything via packages is the recommended way. So I think assuming that packages are very popular is a safe bet. So given the constraints that we have, like that we don't know exactly how much bandwidth we need, and if they can provide about like 30 gigabytes, I think that we need to add our own mirrors. That's going to take part of traffic. And that's also a good thing, because we are providing some guarantee that we have our own mirrors that we maintain and that we know that it works. So that if some mirror decides we don't want Kubernetes packages because that's way too much traffic or something like that, that we have stability and that package system is safe. That's how it works. But the problem is that in theory, this is nice. In practical, it's a problem, because the way that mirrors are working in OBS is that they expect you to have a server, a VM instance whatsoever, that you run all the infra there, and that they can use rsync to access that, to read packages, and eventually to push packages. That's not going to work with S3 buckets, right? Because rsync doesn't support it. But there's two ideas right now. So the first one is being that we have one small server in AWS that's going to be like something that's used for communication with OBS, and that that server has S3 bucket mounted, and that they are like OBS is pushing via rsync to that server, and then we are like they're doing that on a bucket because bucket is mounted to that server. So that's some idea right now. And another possibility that we are going to research is that they use airclone to push to S3 directly. So I just got a message like maybe 2 minutes ago from someone from the OBS team, and they told me this might be possible. So I think that this is the approach that we are going to try first, because airclone supports S3. We can give it a try. In that case, we probably don't need server, or its scope is going to get much lower. And then we are going basically to like simplify the infrastructure, but still use S3 buckets. S3 buckets are nice because we can easily replicate them in many regions, like reduce the cost and stuff like that. There are also some ideas from my side to do something similar to registry K8s IO, where we have this redirector thingy, but let's see. Let's not rush it. A lot of OBS folks are on vacations. I'm going to try to follow up as much as possible with them to try to move this forward. But this is the situation right now, how it is going to look like. And that's why I said the bill is going to go up, because we are going to start pushing stuff in AWS. I am probably going to request a new account for that in a couple of days, probably maybe even tomorrow. And then we are going to start laying out the infrastructure that we needed connected with OBS. That's one part of the problem. The second part of the problem is CDN solution, because ideally, because we have many buckets and everything, we should probably put some CDN in front of it. I had some discussions with Arno today, and one option is to use CloudFront AWS solution, but I am not sure that I'm a huge fan of it, because CloudFront wouldn't be a permanent solution because it is expensive, and there may be potentially other problems. Like, I would be more in favor, like, I know this is super unpopular opinion, but to use Fastly, because this is the way we want to go. And like, if Fastly is providing all the tooling and everything, I think that this may be the best idea to use it. And I think we have some like space there we could have packages, at least for the beginning. Like, this is the OBS project itself is reaching alpha with 128, like it is not going to be that used. And we like set up everything in place with Fastly, with a solution that we want to use in long term. And we eventually hope to be able to increase the traffic if that's needed for packages and artifacts. So yeah, I believe that there might be questions, comments, anything.
Who want to go first? I have like 2 or 3 questions.
I'll just say first and foremost, good work diving into this rabbit hole and coming out somewhat unscathed. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Why we don't just not, why we can just the network of OBS?
How do you
Because
mean
by doing that, we don't pay, we just pay for storage. And the egress for that would be so low because we only serve where the server we set up is located. So why just drain the OBS network?
Yeah, I'm not sure how it would work. Like, we can follow up on that, but
Because my understanding from the Slack I saw is like they have a network, and looking at, why did I put that link in the Zoom chat?
yeah, I think it is a Zoom chat.
Yeah, they have a network of Mirror. We can just set up one and join the CDN/network mesh, be part of it, and we'll pay for serving package all the OBS packages, but in a single region, a single location, because they are open about how they redirect the user request to the like most close server of any user. For example, if I want to download a package from OBS, I will be served by Germany. I will be served by 4 countries in Europe because there's no OBS server in France where I'm located. So the data egress is really low. What we're paying for is just the server we host and the storage.
Yeah, but the thing is that you're eventually going to get users download from that server, right? Because the way when we talk about mirrors, like mirrors are used by users to download stuff. It is not about like just the storage. The storage itself is not this problem. The problem part is like users are like going to download stuff from. Like,
yeah, but that's not really a problem because not every user of OBS will download from our server. Only those close to the one we set up. So if we put that in US, we will only serve in US. And the other server in Europe, we serve the Kubernetes package for us because it's replicated.
yeah, the problem with that might be that I don't know that if servers are in Europe that they have is like going to be enough to handle our packages. Like, the problem is the traffic that we are going to generate with packages, right? Because let's say we put a server in US, and it is going only to be used by US users in the US. we have a problem with users in the Europe. They're going to use their servers, but are their servers going to be able to handle that load? By having our
Well-
own servers, we can guarantee that. Right.
Okay.
But
I
if-
would say, I would say that because the one server is like serving all the package they have for all the project they host, I will be surprised it's a problem. And it's been
yeah,
for
that's not the
years.
case.
Yeah.
They have multiple servers for sure, as we can see in the mirrors report. But I think that because a lot of the servers are coming like from universities and stuff like that, I doubt that they have a lot of bandwidth that
Okay.
and they can handle the Kubernetes project. Like I really doubt that.
Okay, because if you use CloudFront, it's going to be more expensive than being part of the server network. Because now we pay for the egress as like CloudFront is the endpoint. So from a cost perspective, use CloudFront is more expensive.
Wait, no, not really, because CloudFront would be one of their mirrors. So it might still happen that you get redirected to their mirror in Germany, for example.
Yeah, but CloudFront traffic is not aware of region. It's aware the pricing is per continent. So
Okay,
their
yeah,
price per
but-
continent. So if you have traffic from the entire Europe, you'll be basically billed for the traffic in Europe.
Okay, yeah, that part is okay, but if what I wanted to make point is like even if you use CloudFront or any other CDN, we are still going to like have part of traffic going to OBS mirrors and part of traffic going to our mirrors, even if
Okay.
you use CloudFront or anything else. Because for now, I wouldn't really opt out of OBS mirrors at all. But like I want that we have some mirrors so that we can guarantee packages so that we don't really push that much traffic, because Kubernetes project is huge, to some of mirrors.
Okay.
Because
I think
sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
So my point is like, if we want to basically take the cost as a way of make that decision of whether we want to use CloudFront or not being part of the OBS mirror list, yeah, I would go for the OBS network merge because that's less expensive.
Yeah, I mean, we are definitely going to be like part of the OBS network mesh, like that's not a question. It is just like if we want to have like in front of those S3 buckets, if we want to have any CDN, or if we just want to provide direct access to S3 buckets and like their CDN, the way it works, like handles the traffic. Because maybe now that I think better, if we just provide like have 10 buckets in different regions that provide direct access or no CDN, then their mirror is going to take care of balancing the traffic between regions and between their different OBS mirrors. So maybe we don't even need CDN at all.
Okay, so we have a set of S3 bucket per region, and we just add that to OBS mirror list. Is it just S3 buckets? Because I feel like you need to put something in front to be async compatible.
I think they can access that stuff via HTTPS.
Okay.
They need rsync to be able to check if packages are in bucket, but I think they can serve via HTTPS.
Okay. So can we use Fastly with a no bandwidth, Anna?
We have you currently at 10 petabytes a month, correct?
Yeah, and 6 will be used just for dl.case.io. 6 out to 7.
Okay, so it sounds like 15 to 20 would cover it.
I feel like, but I have no way to know that. We have no way to know
Okay.
that. So we assume that we need 20 petabytes to cover everything.
It's a lot of traffic, but it's not so much for us. Let me speak to my team and see what we can do. I think fairly
Thank
confident
you.
that we can get that. Yeah. Our pleasure.
Yeah, and because we are not in rush, we can, by the time we do the rollout for dl.case.io, we might see if we capture at least 90% of the traffic, we can identify basically what's remaining and see how we can adjust the bandwidth per month.
Okay. I'll go 20 to be safe.
Okay.
Then in that case, if we go with 20, we could probably use some of that for packages if needed. If not, yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, let's have our option open for the moment. Let's not make a final decision on which CDN we want to use. Let's basically go with the POC, talk with OBS folks, and do the rollout.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay, if not, then you can reach out to me on Slack. We have release packages POC channel that is dedicated for this, and where we have also OBS team. So you can always reach out to us, and also attend SIG release meetings where we discuss OBS topic as well.
Yeah, can you put the link of the Slack channel?
Yeah, sure. Give me a moment.
For anyone interested to join that conversation. I mean, there's a link here for the conversation, so you can directly join the meeting. Sorry.
Yeah, I also left the link to the channel itself in Zoom chat.
Okay. Okay. Next. Update on job migration.
Yes, that's me again. Yeah, so the first thing that I wanted to highlight is the general progress, which is quite good. I think that we are managing to do pretty well. The community is doing some amazing job. I would also like to thanks to everyone who was involved in this. I think we have two folks on call. This is Ivtek, sorry if I mispronounced your name, and Ricky. Thank you so much for helping us with this. Thanks to everyone else in the community who decided to help us with this. I don't have complete numbers for today, but let's hope that maybe for next time we can come up with something. And that's about the general progress. Let's continue with this, and let's see how we can make this move forward. Another topic that I had is we had that issue, and I think Ricky created it in testing for repo about how to get started, and like something based on what Ben drafted after the last meeting. I think that we should go a little bit more in depth. Last time we discussed this, folks were not a huge fan, like it was not consensus. We wanted to try to move as fast as possible, but I think we should have a step back and come up with some docs and try to describe all the potential issues, everything that users might need to, like folks doing job migrations might need to pay attention to. Like, for example, the request and resource requests and limits, stuff with like linked jobs, GoMax procs, some issues that KubeADM team had and stuff like that. Try to have it like in a central place, documented outside the issue in the markdown document that can be easily linked and that folks can track. For example, I think folks are not really aware of the monitoring dashboard that we have, or like how to properly handle the resources. So I think we should still have a document that's going in depth about this. Like we should have like summary, like TLDR, like just do this. But if you need to like want to do it in a more proper way or something like that, then read this document to learn about what issues you might encounter and stuff like that. So that is something that I would propose and that I could work on and that we could try to come up hopefully soon, and that we provide that as a resource to the community. Another thing is about Grafana. The dashboard that we have for monitoring jobs turned out to be very useful. And I think it was, again, Ricky who brought it up, that we might consider moving that dashboard to default cluster as well. And because I know that default cluster is something considered as no touch, like we don't touch it. But I would still create a PR to propose adding that Grafana dashboard, because it should be mostly just Grafana dashboard, maybe some additional service monitor, but it should be easy to port it to default cluster. And then someone might take a look at the job that they have running and determine the resource requested limits beforehand, before they even start with migration, and then have from day zero proper requested limits set that they avoid issues with their jobs. So that's also something that I have planned. I have one more topic, but before that, do we have any questions or anything? Any comments?
Are you okay opening a pull request to start the migration guide in the test infra repo?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Okay. So like just tag Ricky and other folks involved in that migration so they give their feedback. We can have like, we basically trying to improve the guide to the point it's easy for folks interested to do the migration. So yeah.
Yeah, that will be the plan. Like I am, let's hope that I can draft something tomorrow and that I can create a PR and then we can continue discussion there. And I would do similar for the Grafana dashboard and we discuss if porting it to default cluster is feasible. But it's just a dashboard after all. Okay, another topic that I have. Arno and I had a discussion today about accounts. And we are running into some problems. We have Jiffy on call as well, and Jiffy can help us with that too. Okay, so the way that we have in the default cluster, we have access to some resources that were not coordinated with CNCF in any way. They were given to the Kubernetes community for some sub-project. And the way that it worked, because I actually had similar experience doing that for the cluster API provided DigitalOcean, when DigitalOcean donated some credits. Back then, it was basically that you eventually coordinated something with a cloud provider or with someone willing to donate resources. They like give you access, some of the sub-project maintainers get the keys and everything else. They email test infra on call and they add those secrets in the default cluster. So that was how is this working. And now users are running into the problem that many of those manually added secrets are not available in the new cluster. And I think those jobs are great candidates to be moved as well. But we started discussion today with Arno that we should have a SIG K8s Infra access to those resources and that they should go via CNCF donate credits procedure. And I wanted to discuss that, like, how do we want to handle that? Because in my opinion, that might be too much. Like if someone already like donated something to the Kubernetes project and it works for like many years and stuff like that, I don't think we need to do anything about like having like additional overhead of having them go through processes and stuff like that, because they already did. So they got the sponsorship for their project, sub-project for the Kubernetes project. And they got stuff sorted out. Like, I think we have many great examples, like DigitalOcean is one of them. OBS is a great example. Like, OBS doesn't have anything to do with CNCF. It was basically done by SIG release on their own. Like, there are many stuff when the SIGs are going directly, negotiate something with someone who is going to donate something, they get the access and they put it in the cluster. And like, I think we should keep the same way of doing so. And like, eventually, if possible, try to get access and try to get contacts. So if someone from sub-project decides to leave the sub-project, we like have access to hand it over to fix something, to monitor and stuff like that. But I think we shouldn't block on moving such job. We should port the secrets when we turn out it is needed and like just proceed with the migration.
I have feelings.
We are all human. We have feelings.
We all have feelings, yeah.
So
I think generally you're right. We don't stop projects or SIGs from reaching out to different companies and getting donations. That's like, that is your prerogative. Please continue doing that. So long, like, my CNCF hat on, and then also my like caring about making sure this stuff doesn't just fall into a black hole. So long as these credential secrets, whatever, wind up in a place that more than a single person can use them, then yes, that's fine. And then the minute that these donors maybe want to get some marketing support or work with the CNCF, then yeah, please engage me. Like, I'm essentially saying you're doing the right thing, Marco. Please do that. Just keep in mind and make sure if these places want to get marketing support from the CNCF, whether it be a blog post, interview, whatever, make sure you point them our way, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, yeah, that's something that we can do that way. We can also maybe like document it that if someone wants to reach to donate resources like in the structured way, that they can check out the link that Arno shared in one of Slack threads. I don't have it handy right now. And that like we try to like mention that in the guidelines, and that, yeah, if folks want to migrate, like we migrate secret, we can work with the Google team with that. Only thing that we might put as a requirement is that at least what you said about single person, that someone from SIG K8s Infra leadership team gets access to that resource if that's possible.
Yep.
Like if there's possibility for that.
I think the one thing I want to be clear about this is ownership, and currently it's not the case. I will pick like in many cases, those accounts / environment are company owned. So move those credentials outside of, like, I would say Google, for example, it's a potential security breach. That's why we want to rotate them, because those are controlled by companies, and it's kind of difficult to reach out to people inside companies trying to get those secrets. Or in many cases, what we do is like credential rotation and ask to platform to do donation. So the one thing here is community ownership. As long the environment is owned by community, it's fine. We have many platforms we use, but most of them are owned by at least a SIG. Like I would say 1Password, for example, we reach out to the company they gave us, but we inform CNCF that we use that. And even Fastly, that's the case. We reach out to Fastly, but we inform CNCF that we use that. The main point here is community ownership. If a credential is somewhere inside a company and the maintainers cannot disclose it, we should not migrate the project. That's the one thing I want to highlight. So
We are running
because
out of
at some
time.
point, yeah,
Maybe we can continue in Slack, but quickly, I think that shouldn't be a requirement because community ownership is something else that might be hard to approach long term. That's my opinion.
yeah, there's no currently I don't want to say rush, but there's no urgency to achieve the project of migration currently. The fact that we just start the migration is a good thing versus like over the last year, we didn't do anything. Right now, it's just to move forward. And the email teams sent last time was specific about one thing. Currently, we focus on job not relying on cloud assets. So currently, if a pro job has like nothing require as a preset, a secret, or anything tied to something outside of the community infrastructure, we should do the migration. And we can revisit the remaining pro job requiring specific configuration later. But right now we move things easy to move. And we do another iteration, revisit what's remaining, and make a decision based on that.
Okay, but if we can get SIGs like to grant access at least to us so that we have access, then it should kind of not be a problem because
yeah, I mean,
ownership
if have,
is
yeah. If we have
ownership
access,
is,
sorry, if we have access, which is not on is not always the case in many scenarios, that's fine. Otherwise, we ask to rotate and we ask companies to do donation.
okay. Then we can document that. I think that's fair.
Okay.
And then maybe we don't have to go through CNCF. We can let them know, but they can reach to us SIG K8s Infra. We can like prepare the handover and like figure it out.
Okay.
Okay.
We are out of time. Anything at the last minute? Going once, going twice. And have a good day and rest of the day for everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye
Take
bye.
care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.